Hey guys, welcome to CoMA Pirate Radio, where we as Esoteric Pirates slide our boats together, throw the ropes, tie the knots, and talk about the maps. And for most pirates, the map is the stars. There's an interesting thing that I have discovered. And if you're new to this channel, you might wonder, are you really a pirate? I have been in many past lives. In this life, I tend to stay close to the shore. But I do like boats. And there's a lot of esoteric correlations and metaphors that can be used that we dive into as esoteric pirates. So thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe. Do all that kind of stuff. My shorts talk about the solar party paradigm. These are cards that I channeled, and they bring a new paradigm so that we can identify with the archetypes. Now, sometimes it's hard for someone who is young to identify with someone who is old. Now, I've always, there's a thing with age, right? And age doesn't matter, and whatever age you are, and some people are young and they have old souls, and some people are old and they have young souls. But we're not really talking about that. We're talking about experience and the age of the soul. Now, recently I have dove into, well, let me start this way. I channeled the solar party paradigm with the intention of finding out what I should do during the COVID shutdown. Tell me what to do, God, universe, whatever. And the planets gave me the whole solar party paradigm. I made the cards, and then I started studying astrology, right? I used to have the only astrology book you'll ever need. I kind of piddled around, but I never really studied it. It will take a lifetime to study all that there is to know with astrology. And one of the first things that you start to understand is, wait a second, there's two maps. There's a Western astrology and there's a Vedic astrology. And they say that the Western is new and the Vedic is old. And a lot of people want to go to the old because the old is original. And then there's this sidereal and there's tropical. And the Western uses the tropical and the the Vedic uses the sidereal. Now, understanding that these lines get crossed, okay? Because the Vedic astrology doesn't account for some of the outer planets that at the solar party paradigm, they're very important. We know that Pluto is there. He's the emo kid. You can't erase the emo kid because then Lord knows, what kind of party is that, right? At the same time, the tropical zodiac is not correct, which is one of the things that's really tripped me out the most, especially on my birthday. I have grown up thinking that I am a Libra. And this year realizing, because a lot of people say, oh, well, in Vedic astrology, this is what I am. Well, what does that even mean in Vedic astrology? This is what you are. Well, it literally just means that's where the sun was when you were born. And the tropical is just based on a 2,000-year-old fixed system that put everything in boxes for the calendar. So it doesn't even make any sense to follow that. It's wrong. The sun that I'm looking at right now, that just rose in the east, is in the constellation of Virgo. That paints a very different picture. So we've got the solar party paradigm cards, okay? The sun is the birthday kid. Happy birthday. Most of the world is saying happy birthday to Libra. But the energy of the sun that is coming down onto us right now is not in the constellation of Libra. So if you want to get into conspiracy theories, keeping people confused, keeping people sick, keeping people oppressed, keeping people in fear, is how they control. Awakening out of control and freeing yourself is finding truths, not being scared, and understanding that change is inevitable. It's the inevitable truth. So the birthday kid is the hero, right? The hero of the party. Who's going to save everybody? It's the ego, which has, everything has a shadow side, right? The shadow of the ego is being too ego, feeling like, they're the center of the solar system, center of the universe. I am the center. Yes, but no, right? There definitely wouldn't be a party without the birthday kid. There wouldn't be a reason for the party. Without the sun, we would not be here. It's a very simple fact, backed by science. So, yes, the hero is a very important character. And if you want to have abundance shine down on you, look towards the sun. Now, rising in the east. The other thing about this map, when you look at the map on the computer, is that it's a mirror reflection. That the east, in fact, when I'm looking at it, is on my left, and the west is on my right. Now, when you look at any other map, that is the opposite. But actually, if you look here, this is the east. It actually shows the right direction because the sun is rising right up in here. Okay? Always know where the east is. At the solar party paradigm, this is the temple door. It's really interesting to explore on my birthday. All right? This is the door to the self. All right? An arched door covered in vines. Know thyself is written above it. Close your eyes. Knuckles knock the mystic rap and wait for it to open. There's a lot of esoteric knowledge about you shall not enter the gates of heaven unless you are that of a child, the purity of being a child, knowing thyself is very important throughout the ages. And this idea that if you knock, it will open, right? This is the importance of the ascendant, is what they call in astrology. The important thing to realize is this is the east, is a very powerful location that the hero returns to us daily. Every morning, it rises in the east, giving us direction. And if we didn't have so much light pollution, and if we still studied the stars by looking up, we would see that the sun is in the constellation of what it's in. Things change. So, we've got Virgo. This is what it's in now. And Libra is what I always believed it to be in because of a calendar made 2,000 years ago. So anyway, these are two very different energies, okay? One is silver and metallic and non-attached and balances and weighs. And of course, it's got a shadow side too of being very judgmental. I mean, that's one thing that they do share, right? And one, the Virgin is earth, one is air, one is earth, is grounded and young and pure, you know. It does have a lot of emotions. Virgo carries a backpack full of everything that they need. You know, we might not identify with having a basket of harvest, but we know what a backpack full of everything we need is, you know. It might be a capybara backpack, who knows? But this character got in the party with a fake ID. You know, what does that mean? She's wily. She's wise beyond her years. You know? Now, I've always identified my entire 48 years, I have identified as a Libra, balancing. So it's interesting because it's like this, it brings in this idea of death and rebirth, the Libra. Not that it wasn't true, which technically it wasn't. The sun was never in Libra, my birthday, because it's based on a 2,000-year-old system. You know, honoring the old ways is important when we talk about how we used to live without electricity, but honoring something that we now know is false just because they said it 2,000 years ago is not moving forward, you know, into the future. Like, okay, guys, we now know we have telescopes. We now know that Pluto's there. Vedic astrology didn't even know that they were there. So we're going to study this character, the sun, the hero, that's in right now the constellation of Virgo. I know, it kind of blows your mind, doesn't it? They're organized, critical, excited for the future, meticulous, analytical, resourceful. All right. There's a lot to say about Virgo energy. So we're going to pull a card. This is the Magic Carpet deck. And I pull differently than most people. I read differently than most people. Whoa, this is all kinds of... This is all kinds of messed up. Okay. Let's see what this Virgo sun, the idea that everything dies. The idea that this planet possibly might not make it. They are cutting down all the trees. Those that claim to be environmental are just building ginormous, rich neighborhoods that just cut down the rainforest for electric lines so that they can have all of their electricity, you know. There's only 3% untouched, wild spaces. And I don't see that changing. Human nature is not, humans aren't going to all of a sudden say, oh, excuse me, pardon me, I shall not build here because the bears need space to live. Or the monkeys. Humans are going to build their space for them, no matter what. And without nature to regulate it through Libra, it's going to get out of hand. So Virgo sun, what are we going to say? The Queen. I pulled this card in my other, my Solar Party Paradigm videos, the Queen of Swords. For Virgo, how perfect can that be, right? Her tongue cuts like a knife. She's gonna tell it like it is. And, you know, you can't make everybody happy. There is no way that everybody in this world is gonna be happy. There's gonna be some people that think that they need or want more. Now, what does 50% look like? Half of the planet should be wild, untouched by humans. You know, that can be like, what? How is that even possible? It's not that humans stay out of it, it's that wild humans can live in it. Now, I don't think that humans are going to be able to pull this off. No, I don't. That's just being real. I don't, because we would have to pull out of nature. We would have to rewild, take that word back, rewilding the planet. We would have to rip up a lot of pavement. We would have to destroy a lot of cities, and humans aren't going to do that. Nature is going to do it. But if we just rebuild like termites every time nature, the queen, the planet tries to take it back for the wild, if we just rebuild the city like humans want to do, she may not make it. You know that idea that Mars used to be Earth? I mean, more than likely looks like that's what's going to happen. Now, I feel very much like the death doula of the planet, something my brother and I have tapped into a lot. There has definitely been a complete years and years and years of shadow work and meditation and channeling to be able to be okay with what's going on. I'm not even really okay with what's going on. I like to bark at people. What are you doing? Why are you building a skate park? Why are you cutting down the rainforest for a skate park? Why are you building a bridge? Oh, well, because the people need it. The people need it. The people need it. Oh, the governments protect the nature. Government, oh, don't worry about the sea turtles. The government's going to protect the sea turtles. Just give them money. And they're going to put all the sea turtles in little plastic boxes, hatch the eggs, and then put them in the water. Like, anyway, I'm going to pull one more card. And then we're going to call it quits. I am here to love, to feel, to stand up for, and to speak for the wild, which is why I call myself an esoteric pirate. Now, pirates, you would think, oh, pirates are just thieves and mongers. No. No. Pirates love. But pirates don't let anybody else tell them what to do. They leave the land. They float on the water. They're boats, right? The water, the emotional seas, the emotional waves, the air pushes their sails. And the stars are their navigation. They even have this, closing one eye. Why do you close one eye? And it's not just one, you have to switch. Because one is receiving and one is sending. That's why that happens, right? Are you sending or are you receiving messages? Figure out the code. The 5 of fire. Wands. The 5 is the in-between. In-between worlds. The change. Change is inevitable. And not to be scared of change. Now, there's a lot to that. The world is changing. Backed by science. And if you're an esoteric pirate, stay tuned. Because we can discuss how we can find communities, how we can build communities as people that are wild. How do we stand up for, without being redundant, saying the wild, the wild, the wild? What does that even mean? The laws of nature take over. And yeah, it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. Just like the inner city is dangerous, everything is dangerous. But the wild is able to control, not necessarily control, but keep balance to populations. And we know this with every other species on this planet. And we don't want to accept it with humans. Oh, humans can't die? Oh, well, what if it's personal? What? Yes, of course death is personal. It's always going to be personal. And of course, no, I don't want anybody in my family to die, but that doesn't mean I'm going to reject death. Because one, I know that death is just a transformation. 5. We don't disappear. I know this because as a pirate, don't let anybody else tell me what to think. And I know what I feel. And I know what to look for, to look towards for navigation. I know how to find the east. You look at the sun in the morning. I know how to find the west. Where does it set? The fire. I have the passion to keep the fire lit. To be a lighthouse for others. To maybe study the same thing, So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whether you're traveling physically or mentally, may it be in love and light and shadow. That's where this yin-yang comes in. It's a symbol that humans have honored and looked at and you could say worshipped for many, 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 many years. Oh, well, that's old. Well, This symbol, you know, truth, it survives the ages, right? It's still relevant. The white and the black are balanced. There's a white spot in the black to show diversity, and there's a black spot in the white to show diversity. This symbol still works. It still functions. It's still relevant. The tropical zodiac is not. It does not account for the shift and the change of the Earth's wobble. And that when we look at the sun right now, it's climbing. You know, the constellation that is behind it, that is emanating the energy through it, is Virgo, not Libra. So, stay tuned. Until next time, please like and subscribe. And don't forget your magic bag. It's full of everything you need. Until next time, ciao.